Howdy.
Howdy.
My name is Justin Stewart. I'm the team lead for Team 2. Today we're going to be doing the quadruple net value analysis of Mission Ranch. As mentioned, my name is Justin Stewart. I'm the team lead. This is JD. He is the deputy team leader. Talking about social cultural, we'll have Aubrey and Zach. Trevor and Jacob will talk about sensory. Drew and Lauren talk about environmental, and then Adam and Haley finish up with economic. Mission Ranch is a master plan community in Southwest College Station developed by Caldwell Communities. In this presentation, we're going to analyze the community first through video, and then we're going to unpack the quadruple net value analysis with each element after that. Quadruple net value analysis is a means of analyzing real estate through the evaluation of social, cultural, environmental, economic, and sensory impacts. Using this strategy, one is able to fully evaluate all necessary factors that play a vital role in how all five senses activate to create value in both the asset as well as the surrounding area. The next slide will be going over the video. We'll be showing you the video and then also going further after that to dive deeper into each of these four elements.
This is Mission Ranch, a master plan community in southwestern College Station, Texas. This project is one of the first of its kind, as is outside one of Texas's major metropolitan areas. It's overseen by Caldwell Communities, a Greater Houston-based developer with several similar but larger-scale endeavors under its belt. At the center of the subdivision, there's a small man-made lake and park space designed with residents in mind. There's no real distinctive smell here, and the neighborhood is quiet, with the only real apparent noises being wildlife, the occasional vehicle, and the constant hum of small aircraft approaching nearby Easterwood Airport. An exclusive recreation and amenity center is also planned in this area, but it doesn't exist yet. The rest of Mission Ranch features a decent variety of stock and custom housing styles to match a range of higher-end sizes and price points from 8 different builders. The reason the project feels rather incomplete is because, well, it is. The complete plan calls for 525 residential units across 285 acres of land. So far, only the first phases have been built. Mission Ranch is primarily designed with the car in mind, as evidenced by its wide, circuitous streets and driveways in front of every home. There are bike lanes on the main entryway and bike racks in front of the public facilities here, allowing cycling as an alternative means of getting around. The rest of the streets don't feature specially marked or protected bike lanes, but they aren't generally busy or fast enough to where cars present an issue to cyclists. However, everything here is too spread out for people to really walk anywhere for practical purposes. Many sidewalks aren't shaded, further discouraging pedestrian activity during the blistering summer heat. The nearest public bus stop is a 20-minute walk away. Not a long distance, but it just serves students en route to Texas A&M during peak weekday hours, and that's it. It's really hard to justify using that when development and city land use make it easy to just jump in your car and go. The local arterials around the subdivision are also recently widened to prepare for future growth in the area. Back inside the neighborhood, the streets are pretty well lit after dark, enhancing safety and security. Speaking of safety and security, the city of College Station is expanding its police resources to keep up with how quickly the area population is growing, including a relocation to this new headquarters in 2020. It's not particularly close to Mission Ranch, but the compact geographic size of College Station ensures quick, sub 10-minute response times. The community is served by the College Station Fire Department Station Number 2 at the intersection of Harvey Mitchell Parkway and Rio Grande Boulevard, 3.5 miles away. Mission Ranch preserves a thoughtful amount of green space, but simply due to its sprawling nature, we estimate about a fifth to a quarter of its land area is covered with impenetrable surfaces. The central lake serves as a retention pond for storm drainage, and a couple of smaller detention ponds also exist to the east. The development as a whole doesn't pursue any environmental certifications, such as LEED or SSI, and the inclusion of energy-efficient or environmentally friendly products within each household occurs at the discretion of each individual builder or homeowner. There are some sporadic community events held here, but none so far have placed emphasis on environmental awareness or education. On the topic of education, most of the homes here are within a reasonable walking distance to College Station Independent School District's new Riverbend Elementary School. Along with the widening of Holloman, the construction of the school serves as another reminder of the growth to come in this area. Currently, Mission Ranch sits isolated in its corner of College Station, which allows it to maintain a quasi-rural sensory character. But the Caldwell development likely won't be isolated for long. If happenings down the street are any indicator, the region will soon transform into one much more suburban in nature. Zoning plans indicate that the acreage next to Mission Ranch will be set aside as a planned development district, which fortunately means that future plans on that land are more context sensitive than a typical residential or commercial area. Whenever that real estate eventually does get built, it has the potential to either greatly enhance or detract from the value of the master plan community. For now though, the development stands alone, with its unique quadruple net value metrics, which we will now discuss further in this presentation. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our team's analysis of College Station's Mission Ranch development.
So now we'll start the quadruple net analysis with social and cultural. I'm Aubrey. So we'll start with safety and security. There is outer fencing around the different neighborhoods in Mission Ranch, which serves as a safety precaution, as well as home security systems in the houses. So this is part of the conceptualization and design of this space, but as also with delivery, because as people build houses, they put in their own security systems. As far as connectivity on the site, there is an entrance by a single road, which is Deacon Drive. The public transit access is very poor. We talked about that in the video. There is a good trail system, but the park is separated by property lines, so it's hard to get to. Main rides have separated bike lanes, and there's attractive but generic suburban landscaping and street design. Most of this is again brought about by the conceptualization and design phases, but through management and activation they could become more important to the site. As far as health aspects for the residents of this area, the trails are short but circuitous so that people can walk for farther and longer time. The recreation center is coming but not quite there yet. There are scheduled outdoor events, which is part of the activation of the area for the residents and the public. There are no designated dog parks, but most areas are friendly for them. And since it is a suburb of College Station, the air quality isn't necessarily the best, but it is. There are so many trees on the site, so that does help with health. And those also factor into the conceptualization of the nature aspect of this site and the design. As far as education at Mission Ranch, there isn't anything that is educating people about maybe the nature or the wildlife in the area, but there is the Riverbend Elementary School that was just built on site, which gives people a very close location to send their children to school, which is a very cool aspect of the site. It was part of the design and conceptualization, as we learned from Caldwell on our visit. And I'll turn it over to Zach now for the rest of the report.
Yes, hi. Yes, public involvement, there, four, arcs, within the, subdivision. There are also, several, there are also, several events that happen annually that are marketed, to people outside, community. However, it really isn't a place that's intended for a public visitation on a regular basis. Yes, residential proximity. Then the complex is all done. It's going to have 525 residential units on the site. However, there really aren't any other residential units within a minute walk of the property. Yeah, there's hardly any it's at a quarter mile of it. There some, yeah, not even a 10 in a walk. There's hardly any. There are some entities within a 10-minute walk, but they are all highly owned and of course not open to the public. Some thing else I also want to bring up that was also out of the video. If you see these maps here, the top one is the the top one is the site when it's all done, and the bottom is what we have right now. So not a whole lot is built as of right now. So public art, there really isn't any. There really isn't any involvement with the art. There really any involvement in our community at all. It needs to change. History, there also really isn't any. It's a new sites. They don't really have any historical significance. So there really isn't any historical significance involved in the site. As I said, it's fairly new. So pedestrian comfort, tree cover, mostly cover the yards instead of the side walks. That means if you're working on the sidewalk on a hot day, it's gonna be hot. The sun's gonna be on you. Lighting is adequate at night for walking around, as is the parking for icicles, disability, like, it's adequate, as we had sort of like talked about earlier, like public like transit, there really isn't hardly any. You know, it's like a 20-minute walk. You want to take the bus anywhere. So really, if you live here, you live here. You really have to have a car. There really isn't any other option. You can't really get anywhere. So some social, cultural improvements that could help make this place a better place. So you know, like future entities of the park will encourage more social encounters, such as like having a recreation center, neighborhood parks, like those are on the way. You know, like you can engage their community as well as engage the elementary school with that, so that can go hand in hand. You can provide more events for residents to have them be more involved in the community, and also encourage the public as well. Like, and they have a great trail system. To add on to that, like, how it would really help the area. Okay, and now it's sensory. I'll turn it over.
I'm Jacob, this is Trevor. We're going to talk to you about the sensory portion of the development. Remember when Clint Cooper said this when we went to go visit him over at the site? So from the visual aspect, the biggest thing you see when you go into the site is that monument coming off Holloman, and then you drive down the road and you see the big lake. That's the main focal point of what they have built so far, and then also on the drive up there, there's the two small ponds with a connecting stream between them. All the streets are brand new. Everything it's visually appealing at this point because it hasn't been time for it to have anything go wrong with it. And the parts that are maintained are being done weekly, but remember, it's not even halfway done yet. There's still a bunch more of this project that has to be built yet. And the project is too new to have caused neighboring properties to enhance their land to remain competitive. So no one around them is, really this whole section of College Station is new anyways. So there's no reason for anyone to have to try to remain competitive because they're not losing any business because of this development. For the olfactory sense, there's a Peach Inn attached to the Chevron at Holloman and Deacon. There's 10 acres of green space for public use, but there's no flowering plants anywhere but the front office and then alongside the main drive as well. The park area adjacent to the large lake holds 3 trash bins, 2 camp-style charcoal grills, and 3 picnic tables for assorted use. And the lake and the wooded areas kind of just give you a sense that you're kind of in there. You can smell the trees, you can smell the water. And there's no industrial facilities within a 2-mile proximity. So you don't get any of that nasty smell except for currently a ton of construction. So sometimes you get a whiff of whatever's going on at a job site, but that's unavoidable at this point. And for touch, haptics, like I said, the lake is 8 acres. The ponds are about 1.5 to 1 acres plus the connecting stream. Those 3 picnic tables pictured here, and then there's 2 benches at the Welcome Center, and then there's that dock on the lake, which is right there, drop down. You can't see it from that picture. All the walkways around the development so far are ADA compliant, but there are no ramps at the front office. I'm sure they're going to address that with future things such as the recreational center and so forth.
I'm Trevor Lucas. Auditory, there's no dedicated auditory venues there at the site. Currently the only things you hear are either construction noise or like planes flying over. But other than that, you may hear the occasional kid playing or something, but there's not any dedicated things for auditory. Gustatory, there is no, at the moment there's no plans for restaurants or anything, but it is a master planned community, so it's not opposed to them doing that. So things like the new fitness center could have something in it, like a protein bar or something. sensory takeaways. The market of the site is a mix of traditional year-round residents and seasonal residents, so a lot of the buildings will be uninhabited for parts of the year, so that has to play into how they market it. Activity is low. Sometimes there's people like walking around or jogging, but that's usually seasonal things like canoeing in the winter usually. Jogging also reduces in the winter. Overall look and smell are the main sensory triggers in use, and are enhanced primarily through the lake, forestry, foliage, and then built environment. Because a portion of the residents may not live permanently at the site, they focused on natural looks, so they don't have to be maintained as much, so you don't have to water plants as much, it's just making sure that they don't overgrow. Improvements that we thought of were incentivize residents to plant flowering or flowers or gardens in their yards to try to enhance the site by giving them a reward for a best yard in the residential area, but that's mainly a delivery aspect. It can go into activation by getting people to kind of advertise it to their friends. The next two kind of go together, remove restrictions on the use of public areas, like the lake is not supposed to be used by anyone that's not a resident of the area, and maintain the ecosystem of the lake and publicize fishing in the lake to surrounding areas to try to get people to come to the site to actually get people informed about it. That will help with marketing it and getting people to actually buy properties eventually. And begin planning community events so that people have a better mental image of the site as a community, so that they can start like a grassroots sort of marketing strategy to try to get people to come to the site.
Okay, let's talk about the environment. I'm Drew Hawley. Me and Lauren did the environmental portion. Green space and plant material. So we estimate that there's about 60% green space on the confines of the properties. It has little effects on the urban heat island. Most vegetation is not mature. There are a lot of trees that are still existent right now and a lot of grassy areas, but those are going to be gotten rid of for future developments. So the number of trees that exist right now, there'll be less in the future. There's native landscaping that is drought tolerant. They were aware of those kind of things when they were picking out their plant species. And then as there's more cars driven around, the air quality is going to decrease, and as the number of trees decreases, that's going to facilitate that. Carbon footprint due to type of development, increase in urban heat island effect. So the urban heat island effect is the materials like the concrete or the bricks on the houses is absorbing the heat during the day. So that'll absorb more heat, whereas like the plants would reflect that heat. Bike lanes and pedestrian, these kind of this infrastructure, the sidewalks contributes to being able to walk or bike, so you don't have to drive your car. And it'll get you to that bus stop, but like we've said already, the bus, it's more likely that you're going to use your car in this area.
Okay, stormwater management practices. So right now, again, there is satellite imagery of the place, and it's also going to be changing in the future with houses being built, the streets, and all of that. But about right now, it's about 25% of the site that seems to be an impermeable surface. There's no green roofs. That would be just impractical to put green roofs on all houses. Rainwater does collect in a retention pond in the middle of the development, and the amount of runoff that is collected, we don't know, but the development does have several retention areas. Water management. The water is supplied and managed by the Wellborn Special Utility District, and there's not a lot of xeriscaping, but the local climate, it rains all the time, so we don't really need that here. There's not really any environmental education going on with this development. They don't have any programs associated with it, and we couldn't find anything, but most likely they're not really involved with any organizations that are doing environmental education.
All right, Adam and I are going to talk about the economics of Mission Ranch. So due to the development, there has been an increase in taxable value of properties within Mission Ranch, properties adjacent to Mission Ranch, and those that are within a 5-minute walk of Mission Ranch. These can't be attributed to the Mission Ranch development alone, however, because College Station is just growing in general, and we're seeing a lot of increased value in housing all around College Station. So tourism and occupancy, Mission Ranch is marketed for either long-term permanent residents or seasonal residents, depending on football games and alum and everything. So seasonal residents will contribute to citywide tourist revenue, but not necessarily tourist revenue within Mission Ranch itself. And then permanent residents will be more likely to occupy housing year-round, and they will contribute to community atmosphere and development. And as Mission Ranch increases development, there's going to be more and more occupancy in the area. And then finally, construction and maintenance. Construction value and maintenance costs for Mission Ranch exceed that of nearby developments. And this is primarily due to the target market of permanent residents, with the conceptualization and design and delivery of the type of houses that the Mission Ranch Development Program is building. This is perfectly on target for what they want to accomplish. The multifunctional sectors as well, there's going to be that area for families near the elementary school or the areas for seasonal residents. And then the higher property value and specific market demand are going to contribute to higher construction and maintenance costs.
All right, I know this is the slide you've all been waiting for. Big bucks, the dinero, the cash. I can see it in your eyes. I also know some of you are saying, man, one day I want to build one of these things. How much could I charge? How much could I potentially make? Well, you can compare that with Mission Ranch. Mission Ranch is a 525 unit complex. So, on average, the houses are about $400,000. If you do some math, that comes to $210 million. It's a lot of cash. I know that makes you happy, it makes you want to go do this. So, with that being said, that's all before expenses and taxes, because of course Uncle Sam needs his portion. Mission Ranch is being charged 2.27% on taxes. That's a interesting amount. So, I know they're not too satisfied with that, but it is what it is. Get out there and do it.
So we're starting to run a little short on our 30-minute time period, so I'll try and make this quick. But overall, I'd just like to conclude with saying Mission Ranch is a community that it's pretty much brand new, but as of right now, it's above the standard in the area and addresses most quadruple net value metrics. I hope through our analysis, everyone was better able to understand the effects of these quadruple net value metrics on visitors' perceptions of Mission Ranch. We've already kind of talked about improvements that can be made to the development in order to sort of improve it and make it better. This is, of course, it's a nascent community. It's been open less than a year, but as that part of College Station grows and matures, Mission Ranch, more faces get built. Hopefully it'll come into its own and be able to maintain and sort of continue to grow its sort of quadruple net value, so it can garner more repeat visitation and financial success. So, as we talked about, it's a multifaceted process. We hope you're able to relate our QMB analysis to design, or conceptualization, design, delivery, activation, and management of Mission Ranch. And thank you for investing your time and attention to our presentation. And with that, we invite any last-minute questions.
Yeah, you could go for it. Go on.